Necessitating all travellers to have costly COVID tests done before arriving in South Africa has ended up costing the tourism industry greatly. This is the sentiment from the South African Tourism Services Association. SATSA says it welcomes the president's announcement and that we must act fast. He adds that we really have a small window of opportunity to attract international travellers back to South Africa. Let's hear from SATSA's CEO, David Frost. David, thank you so much for your time. The removal of that PCR test requirement for vaccinated travellers has been applauded widely by the tourism industry. Just how much of a difference is that going to make?
Good morning. Look, we do welcome it. It's going to make a massive difference. This was certainly an impediment to the embryonic recovery that we have seen, and we've been lobbying hard to get this bit of obstacles sort of out of the way. I mean, bearing in mind that while we welcome it, it's still a little too late. I mean, Botswana moved 6 weeks ago to do exactly the same, and quite frankly, we need to be sitting down together. It's the approach that I find is that we need to be sitting down together and planning around growth and recovery as the point of departure, not heavy-handed regulations. So yes, we welcome it, but there's still a lot of work to do.
You say that we have a small window of opportunity to attract international travellers and that we have a lot of work to do. So if you were sitting at a table with the powers that be, what is it exactly you'd say to them?
Well, we still now collectively as society and indeed business have to comment on this wad of draft regulations that's been published. And when you have a look at these regulations, they are so just sort of infuriatingly ill-conceived in the current juncture. We've actually managed this pandemic reasonably well as a country. I mean, compared to other countries, we should be sitting down. As I say, our focus should be on growth and recovery. And instead, we have a bunch of bureaucrats going off into a dark room and coming up with a totally unscientific set of regulations that is meant to help us manage a fluid situation. And the point I would make is this, is remember last year, we were put on the red list by the UK. And government was slow out of the box. We lobbied hard on that. And what we faced is exactly the same. A bunch of bureaucrats in the UK going into a dark room and not following the science. And the fact that this government has no sense of shame, because that approach really infuriated them. Look at the president's address in November last year. He was visibly cross in terms of how the UK approached us. Why do we then continue not to follow the science and continue this heavy-handed control approach to things where we should be focusing on economic growth and recovery? And, that's the chagrin from business at the moment.
The draft health regulations that you speak of are quite lengthy. Is there anything in particular that you're very unhappy about? Well,
there are a number of issues within those sort of regulations. I mean, as you say, they are quite a specific, quite a lengthy set of regulations. We would like to see issues around outdoor gatherings. I mean, why is it 60%? Why when you get over 2,000 do you need to sort of cut things off? Vehicle capacity regulations. We're still shackled with a 70% vehicle capacity sort of regulation impediment at the moment. So these are the types of things that we need to get away from. We need to. It's essentially the entire approach to that needs to be revised. There was a very damning piece in the Daily Maverick by the Scientific Collective, and they are just saying that you need to actually now, let's follow the real science, not the science of last year, the science of today, and move forward in a way that we can grow this economy and get ourselves up and running again.
All right, finally, David, now that PCR requirement for vaccinated travelers has been removed, do you have a sense of what international travelers think of South Africa as a post-COVID-19 destination?
Well, the sentiment out there is incredibly positive. I mean, just in the last 2 or 3 months, the amount of sort of accolades that have come through is, Cape Town as the most desirable destination on the planet, from certain awards. There is certainly a lot of pent-up demand. We're an incredibly, and we've been saying this for the last sort of almost 24 months now, is we're the ideal post-COVID tourism destination. We've had a lot of people, the more intrepid travelers, people just relocating and being based in South Africa because, this notion of being able to work from anywhere. But we need to kick on, and we need to get our core, really good volume mid-market travelers back. They're the people who were spooked during COVID. They're the people who are still a little bit hesitant, and any impediment is something that retards the growth of that particular segment. But this is the bread and butter stuff that our industry relies on. These are the people that get beyond the big cities into the small towns and spread the vital tourism pounds and dollars into our economy and help resuscitate jobs in those areas.
All right, David, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. That was SATSA CEO David Frost.